Yeah, look, it's one of those things that Matty's worked his way through for the latter part of his career, and it's one that he grinds at times, and we're in that at the moment. Matty's a team player, so he's always thinking about what does he do for the team, and at the moment he doesn't feel like he's able to get his game to the level that we saw in round 1 and 2, where he was instrumental in what we were doing. So we've sat down over a few weeks now and just talked through what does this look like, and in the end it's a joint decision around a block of work's needed for him, as in some time off, and he'll look at what he can do to try and then help the hip. So hopefully we're able to perform as a team without him, and then him come back later in the year, maybe a month, 4, 5, 6 weeks, come back and give us what he knows he can give to the team, which when he's at 100%, he's a super midfielder in this comp.
So that's like an indefinite period at this stage? You don't put a time?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're looking at a month, 4, maybe 6, but it's not definite, because it'll be depending on how he goes and how he recovers, and but we'd like to think no more than that. Again, we just don't know.
So rest rather than any surgery or anything like that? Or?
Yeah, no surgery, no treatment, and then he'll have a period of time for a few weeks where he won't do any physical stuff on the ground, won't train, and we'll do what we can to get him back to his best. Really, that's what we're after.
It's 3 players now you need to replace. What's the sort of thinking about who to bring in?
Yeah, well, we talked about it. We got guys sort of knocking on the door that want to play, so that's a positive. But we'll miss guys. We miss these guys when they go missing. It changes our connection and cohesion that we've had. But the guys that are playing underneath have played some great footy. Not so much on the weekend. It wasn't our best game in the SANFL. But sometimes that's that little reality check you need every now and then to get you back on track. So we've got some guys ready to step up, guys that have already had a little look at it this year. We'll train today, we'll train hard, and we'll make some selections off the back of that session.
So I've got a man here to go. Certainly been seen for a long time, Jordan
Butsy? Yeah, Butsy's name's definitely right up there. He's played some really solid footy and was probably our number one ruckman for a number of years there. And someone will be saying, well, where's he gone? Well, he had some issues through the pre-season. He's worked his way back through that. Others have taken their opportunity, but he's been ready right throughout. So if we need to call upon him this week, which we probably will, he's ready to go.
Certainly not as bad as last year, Matty, so far, but you've copped some pretty big injuries to key players. What have you learnt from that, and what can you do better this year without those players inside?
Good question. Yeah, and we look at that a lot. How are we getting these injuries? There are some that you can't avoid. I mean, I'm not going to tell Josh Rochelle to not go back into a pack, and Josh breaks his ribs. So there are contact injuries that happen in the game, and I think we talked through that earlier in the year, and I mentioned they're going to come. The injuries will come. It's where they come, and how they come. So Nick Murray's, an interesting one for us. It's one we've got to work through. He's such a powerful young man, and early in his career, we want to make the right decisions around that. So there are some things that we're going to look back on at how we train and how we go about it, but at the moment we'll keep pushing forward. We believe we've got to train at a level to play at a level.
I don't mean just how they occur though, but as a group now, how you move. I know you'll have the next man up mentality and that sort of thing, but through those difficult times last year, you've learned how the group can perform better without those key players.
I think it's more about belief in our group, and the depth of our group is more. It's not so much learning from what we're doing. It's our guys have spent another 12 months of playing footy. And so, if we bring in I'll try to think of a name, but if we bring in a Sam Barry, for example, we know Sam Barry's 12 months more ready than he was, the year prior. He's played a lot more footy. I'd say he's playing some of his best footy at the moment and not in the team. I talk about a Lockie Murphy who, Murph's probably playing his best footy of his career. At the moment, can't get a game. So we back in our list and our squad that we're a lot stronger than we've been in the past. And when you do have these injuries, which it's inevitable, you have injuries. Every club has them. It's just a matter of how many and when you get them in the year. We're confident that we're going to be able to perform still at a high level. We know it's going to affect us slightly, but can we keep our game at the level we need to get wins?
Darcy,
Yeah, Darcy's moving really well, which is great. A great sign for us. And we missed his goal kicking on the weekend. There's no doubt when he gets his opportunity. So hopefully, again, all the touch wood and all that, get through training. For Das, we'll be confident that he's going to be okay, and Riley we're pretty confident with as well. He won't train today. There's obviously a fair bit that's gone on with his finger, but he's we're in a way we're pleased with the result considering what it could have been. That he was able to come on, play the game out. He's a pretty tough young lad, and I think good luck stopping him playing this week.
His finger, is that something you sort of lead to we test his pain levels for Riley on game day? Or?
Yeah, well, we won't. We just won't push it today to add more impact onto the footies. We'll leave that to a captain's run for him to touch a few footies there and then be confident he'll be right to go.
You realise you're playing at home this week. We haven't seen how you away. We were up in here 6 out of your last 23 wins
Yeah.
at the moment.
It's tougher to win on the road. It's a lot tougher to win. We've got to be better in that if we want to play finals footy. So it's always going to be one that's a work on for us. What is it we're not quite getting right? There's also the understanding too of how tough it is to win on the road when you travel to Perth to play Fremantle and when you travel to the Gold Coast to play the Gold Coast. Well, I'm not sure many are writing that down and just saying that this is a win for the away team. They're tough road trips, but we acknowledge we've got to be better on the road. We've got to pinch some of those games or win those games well to get where we want.
Have you identified, you said, you touched on it there, but have you actually identified what this
Yeah,
continues to be?
Well, from the weekend we did pretty quickly, and it's not really around our travel. We could go back and look at our game in Melbourne earlier in the year. Well, we're doing the same thing on our trips away. We continue to tweak small things, but it's not about necessarily the travel. It's about sometimes the environment you're in and whether you're getting your own game right. We didn't on the weekend. We were off in our game and we came up against a side, to their credit, that were well and truly on. And I think, I think their whole group and the coach at Freo will be really pleased with the way they played their footy.
Was your thinking on tag has changed at all this season? It seems a lot of the successful clubs are employing taggers, but it's not been that you guys have done much.
It's not my thinking, no. It's something we just haven't gone to a lot. We're always looking through it about, and I think I mentioned it before, about coolers, taggers, attention on players that are hot. I know where you're leaning. Brayshaw obviously had a game. Sometimes it's hard to stop them once they're going, but we'll continue to look through that. We've got some guys we know will embrace that role if given it. James Peatling's one who's coming, and that's probably where he showed some of his best footy before he got his opportunity through the mid. So we know we've got him. Ben Keys has been one that is very disciplined and likes those challenges. So we have options. It's what we hope more often than not is we don't have to go there.
How do you, in terms of replacing Mitch, you touch on guys that have been in the frame, is it a chance that someone like Charlie Edwards obviously hasn't had a chance at all, or even Brody Smith also hasn't been in the frame this year?
Slightly different parts or positions in their careers. We'll have a look at all those guys that have been sort of working through that area, training with our backs, doing all their study, their education around it. Brody's, again, probably one of those guys I mentioned, like Sam Berry and Lockie Murphy. Brody's playing a stronger footy. I think in the pre-season, if you remember back, he had one of his strongest games up at Mount Barker. Unfortunately, was suspended after that game, sort of put him back a little. Got no doubt he's ready to go. Some of the other guys are still working on parts of their game. But not to say that we've locked that in yet. Again, we'll train and see who pulls up well. And
how do you balance where you play Sid this week? You had the luxury of giving him a go at both levels last week. And given the confidence he was able to show there, do you let him do that for a few weeks at centre level, or do you attempt to bring him straight back?
Yeah, we've talked through exactly that. What's best for Sid, probably first and foremost, and then nearly as equal what's best for our team. But we always want to look after our young players to make sure that we're doing what we think is going to develop them the fastest and get them to where they want to get to. He's shown some really good signs, I think, going back to the SANFL, got just some footy back in his hands and got him, just let him loose to play around. There's a fair bit we're still working on with him, and the best part about that is he's coachable. He wants to learn. He's able to change his game on the weekend at half time and work on areas we know are going to improve him and make us a better team. So, that decision will be made very much around what we think's best for him. and we'll see where that ends tonight.
Any particular focus on red time goals?
Yeah.
This week, I think 4 last week, 2 against Geelong were really finishing.
Yeah. Well, this week especially. Again, we're mindful to jump at things, but the weekend was unacceptable. From a red time point of view, I won't share what I didn't see him because we're in the lift coming down from the grandstand, which is unbelievable, but it is what it is. We've actually got things in place to work on that, but it was really disappointing that we didn't execute that. And that comes back to what I mentioned earlier. Our game wasn't at the level it needed to be at, and our opposition's was. And so they punished us, and it happened to be right at the end of a quarter, which, maybe it's a different result if we're able to just hang on in the first and third quarters.
Is that a mental thing as much as anything?
No, it's structural. Now, there's a mental component to it. Like, why is our structure and method not at the level it needs to be at that point? And maybe it's a concentration thing. Yeah.
Last couple of guys, was it a little bit of 1 step forward against the Giants, 2 steps back in Freo, and then taking it forward? How do you get that consistency against the Blues and going forward now?
I wouldn't say we're worse off for Freo than we were for what we gained against the Giants. I think we're confident that we've still got a strong game, that our trend this year has been playing some really high level footy. We got beat by 3 goals in the end, which was, I think that was a little bit misleading. We were convincingly beaten by Freo, but we know the area we have to be better at. So we're as confident as we were going into the Giants. Unfortunately, we just keep getting hard matchups because there isn't an easy one in our game. The AFL have done that too well, honestly.
He's looking at trying to put some pressure on Rob.
He has been right throughout. It's why, we probably saw Rob off for 1 game, and I think the pressure that Lockie had put on and was putting on every week, be it we have some buys in the SNFL where he can't, but right throughout pre-season he was taking it to Rob. They were having a great battle, so I think it's making Rob better, and hopefully making Rob, hungrier each week to know that we've got a really accomplished ruckman sitting there ready to go. But I think they're both making each other better. Rob's done some fantastic work with Lockie also through pre-season, so it's nice to have both.
You keep backing him in there against the ruckman in TDK, who's so good around.
Yeah, he's a unique ruckman, isn't he? And he's in ripping form too. So, we'll back in. We'll back in Rob. He's, the consistency he brings for us. We'll back him in to go hard this week.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.